Welcome, my name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. And I decided I watched Diane Mara from Faith Art Design Studio make some pockets in advance for her hashtag Faith Journal July 2025 Challenge Exploring Joy. If you're not familiar with that, check in the links below. There's tons of information out there already. Facebook group and lots of videos, 23 creators that are going to join us. So I have made 2 journals in preparation. You don't need 2 journals. You need, you only need 1, or you could even do it without 1. But I made 1. I have a kit that I made with poppies on it. So I made a waterfall journal with that, and there's all kinds of videos about that as well. And then I made this journal with fun little topper and fabric cover, and this one is using a kit that I made with poppies, and this is using a kit that Diane made. It's called Rejoice Rhapsody, and it's just very colorful, all different colors. If you watch my video, you know why it's upside down. Just really fun papers. So I'm going to make some pockets, and I decided to follow Diane's lead and make 1 pocket for each of my journals in advance. You could make more, you could make different ones, however you would like. So the first thing I did is I made the pockets that she showed in her video. So I'm not going to show you how to make these again, but I made a couple, 1 for each of my journals. I just wanted to show you this. I ordered this. I had this for a little while. I'm not sure if it was Amazon or Temu, but it's called Wind Blows Rose. But when I was looking at them, I came across them the other day and I thought, those don't look like roses, those look like poppies. So I'm going to use some of those to decorate my ephemera. So go through your stash and see if there's some things that match. Don't those look like poppies? I don't know. To me, they look like poppies. I'm going to call them poppies. So I'm not going to decorate any of my pockets today, and I'm not going to put tags in them today. What I'm going to do is to show you the construction of the pockets, and then maybe another video I'll decorate them. Maybe I'll just do that off camera. And I'm going to make some pockets first in a couple of videos, and then I'm going to make some tags in subsequent videos to go into here. I don't want to mix and match. I just want to kind of mass make pockets first. So there's those 2. The next one I decided to make was this one, and you may have seen this pocket. It's nothing new. I've made it several times before. This is gonna fit. So if you take, I'm just gonna grab a couple little pieces of ephemera here. I'm not specifically going to make tags for here, but I do have tags and different things cut out here. So sorry, I should have grabbed a couple of, looking for some tags. I'm not even seeing tags here yet. I know I have tags cut out here somewhere. Okay, that's good enough. So there's, you can make this with as many pockets as you want. I have 1, 2, 3 pockets, plus you can use this top one for a pocket if you want. It's a little bigger piece, so you can put it on a page that, is white, that you don't really care. You want to cover it up, or you can just, put it on a page just to decorate almost a whole page. And then you've got a pocket here. You've got a pocket here. Butterflies upside down. And you've got a pocket here. So 1, 2, 3 pockets. And this is such a huge piece. You could add all kinds of different things to here. You don't just have to do one thing per pocket, sort of thing. So just really fun. Stuff it up. I'm going to show you exactly how to make this, but each of these pockets goes all the way down to the bottom. So this one goes all the way to the bottom. This one, well, of course, this one goes all the way to the bottom. So they're not just little skinny pockets. All of them go all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to show you how to make that one first. And I made that one with my poppy kit. So the second one I'm going to make is with Diane's Rejoice Rhapsody kit. So I have a couple of, I think I'm just going to use this one and this one this time. So I need a base, and you can make the base really anything you want. I decided to make mine 5 by 8. My pages are 5.5 by 8.5, so that's 1/2 inch, so 1/4 inch on each side, smaller than your page. So that's what I decided to make. So this is 5 inches wide. So I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces here that are 5 inches wide. Just to prepare. That's probably enough of that one. Oh, how do you cut that up? It's just, it's so pretty on every side. I want this side, maybe I'll do this side. You know, if you're just using some plain scrapbook paper, you might want to, you know, have a few different pieces so you can have some variety, but this one has so much variety just in one piece, so I don't have to worry about that. So then the first thing you want to do is just glue something for the background. Where did I put my pocket already? You want something kind of for the background. This part is not a pocket. So I'm just going to take how about 3 inches? And this one I'm just going to attach to the top here. That's all I'm going to do. And I am going to sew mine. So if you're not going to sew, you're going to have to glue around all the edges. But I'm just going to dot a little bit of glue because I'm going to sew it and I don't want it, I don't want to wait so long for it to dry. So I'm just going to attach that to the top, just like that. Super simple. Then I'm going to take a piece that I want next. And I do like that bird. So I'm just going to rip the top. You could do it straight across as well if you want. That would easily work. And then I'm just going to cut another piece. I'm just not going to measure this at all. I'm just going to trim it where I think I want to trim it. About right there. And that's going to be my first pocket right there. So what I want to do is I want to ink just this top edge because I won't be able to ink that later. And here I want to just put a little, again, just kind of dot of glue. You don't need the whole thing. You can if you want. I'm just going to put 3 little dots of glue just on the sides, not on the bottom here. And then you can line it up. You can cover as much or as little of your top part as you want. I'm covering up a little more than, you know, there's quite a bit underneath there, but it didn't have to be like that. So there's your first cut. Then you want another one. And I think I'm going to alternate. So I'm going to put a piece of this next. I'm not going to have room for all of this pretty paper on here. If you make your pockets narrower this way, you know, you can put 6 pockets, 8 pockets, whatever you like on there. And then you can get more little pieces of your decorative paper on there. So that one's going to go there. It doesn't really matter what's on the bottom because it's going to be covered up. So I'm just going to put a dot there and just kind of 3 dots there. I'm going to line it up at this edge. Don't want to completely cover my bird there. Just going to line it up on that edge, kind of turn it over, give it a couple dots on this side. Attach that, again, no glue on the bottom. This was some cardstock left over from when I was teaching my daughter homeschool, Renaissance history. We were making a timeline on Renaissance history there. So there's 2 pockets already. Now we can make another pocket. So I can do that. That's kind of cute with this little bird looking there. Or I can kind of, I think I'm going to rip that off though. can do this however you like. These are quite fun. You turn out a little bit different every time, and you could easily, just grab, I don't know, five scraps of your kit and just go to town. Make a bunch. So, I could easily have made more pockets here, but I think I'm just going to do these ones. Nice straight here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I did trim this piece right to 5 inches. Probably would make sense for you to cut this, a 1/4 of an inch wider when you first start, and then you have a little bit of wiggle room if your paper's not completely straight. And then this is a beautiful scrap for something else. You can put a dot of glue, just on the bottom here. This is just to hold it in place until you sew, because I'm going to sew on these. So basically there's my completed pocket. Super easy. So just like this one, what do I have that I can put in here? So that can go in there. That can go in there. These aren't finished yet. In here, in here. So, you can hold, I don't have that completely glued there. You can hold a lot of stuff in there, and this just glues straight onto your page. If you want, you could glue it on 3 sides and still keep this open for a tuck, but you got lots of pockets already here, so I'm just going to glue it straight on the page, I think. So I'm just going to go and sew that one. I'll probably sew it at the end because I'm going to show you another pocket, and then I'll sew them both together. But so there's pocket number 1, or pocket number 2 if you count. If you count these ones, this was pocket number 1, pocket number 2, and here's pocket number 3. All right, so here's my pocket number 3, the second one that I'm going to be showing you. And this is a really fun one too. I used a base the same as the other piece. It's 5 by 8. And I'll show you how to make it in just a second. This is what it looks like, and it's got 4 pockets. So it's got a pocket, sometimes I can't remember where the pockets are. It's got a pocket here, a pocket here, a pocket here, and a pocket here. So it's really fun. So you can do, like little skinny things here. You can do an upside down pocket, and they're snug enough that they're not going to fall out of there. And you can do a side one here, do another side one here. If you want to fit, I like to be confused by where the pockets are. It's like it's a game that way. But if you don't want to be confused where the pockets are, then you can easily put, a little thumb notch wherever the pockets are, or you can put a tab. I have tabs all over the place here, but so for example, here's just a little tab, and where the pockets are, you can put little tabs, and then you won't get confused where the pockets are. But if you're like me and you want to be confused, because every time you turn to this page, it'll be like a new game, you can just leave them like this. So let's just put this all to the side here, and I'll show you how to make this one. It looks a little bit kind of complicated, but it's not. It's super easy. So again, I have my base that is 5 by 8. You can do any size, and I'll show you how to adapt that. What you want to do is you want to cover all of the backing paper horizontally and vertically. I'll show you what I mean by that. So I have 2 pieces of paper here, and it covers the entire backing. So each one is 8 inches tall and half of this width, so 2.5 inches. So you can make this any size. So make 2 pieces to cover the backing in that direction, in the vertical direction. Then make 2 pieces of paper to cover the backing in the other orientation, in horizontal orientation. So for mine, this is 5 and this is 4. So I have 2 4 by 5s and 2 2.5 by 8 pieces. Okay. So then you want to just kind of lay these out. This one, you do need maybe a little extra patience and a little bit of nimbleness to get it the way you want it. But so you lay your 2 pieces either way, either one you can start with. I started with these. You just lay them out roughly there, and we're weaving. So we're going to put it underneath one and on top of the other one, just like that. And then this piece will be on top of this one and underneath this one. So we've got a piece that's woven together. And you can do this with, you know, 3, you know, across and 3 down and all kinds of different things. I've played around with different things. It's really fun, but I thought I'd just do a basic one this time. So you do want to, once you have a, you know, arrangement that you like, you know, you can flip these around and decide, oh, okay, I like that a little better. Maybe I'll do this one this way because then my lines will be at the top and at the bottom, and, you know, however you like, get them the way that you want. And then just kind of leave them in that position and ink just the inner edge that's showing. So for this one, this is the only part that's showing. This is the only inner edge that's showing. This is an outer edge and this is an outer edge. On this piece, the only inner edge that's showing is this part. And it's easier to just leave it in this position because then, or you can just ink on all the edges and then you're good. And then put it together. This is how I like to do it. Okay, so I got all my inner edges inked. And then there's different ways I've seen this before. I think I originally saw it by Corey Dahlman of Creating with Scraps years ago. So I think that's where, I think she called it like a puzzle ladder or a ladder pocket or something like that. Then you want to just put a dot of glue. Again, I'm going to sew. If you're going to glue, I would probably do the dots first and then just add the glue that you want on the edges after. But I'm just going to put dots and then I'm going to sew. So I'm going to, every corner is going to have 2 pieces of paper. So I'm going to just pull up those 2 pieces of paper. I'm going to put a dot of glue here, and I'm going to put the bottom piece of paper on the glue. And the only thing you want to kind of make sure that you got this lined up. You know, so it's lined up along these edges. You can trim it a little bit, but you know, you want it fairly straight. Okay, so there's one. Then just rotate it 90 degrees. Again, you're going to have 2 pieces of paper on every corner. Put a dot of glue on your corner and press the bottom piece onto that corner. And, you know, just kind of line it up, make sure it's straight along the 2 edges there. Oops, I moved it. And just glue that edge there, okay? Rotate it 90 degrees. Pull those 2 pieces of paper up, put another dot of glue. It's very simple, but it's, you know, it looks complicated when you're done, which is kind of fun. Okay, and then put another, or put that, press that glue in, straighten it up, and then rotate it 90 degrees again. And now you've got 2 pieces of paper on the last corner here. Put a piece of glue there, and just the bottom one, line it up, and put it into the glue. Make sure your 2 edges are fairly lined up there. Now we have the bottom pieces all glued on, but we've still got a little floppiness here. It's better to, before we go to the sewing machine, I want to add a little bit more glue so we're not just flopping around and maybe, you know, making it go askew in the sewing machine. So now we have 1 piece of loose paper on each corner. The other one's glued down. So I put another, doesn't matter where you start, put a dot of glue in one of the corners and attach the new piece. And by now everything should be pretty lined up, so you don't have to work too hard. Then I'll go to my next corner, put a dot of glue, attach that one, rotate, put a dot of glue, put your paper on. Got a little bit I probably need to trim off on that one. So that was this one, and then rotate and put a dot of glue and put your paper onto there. And then I think all the corners should be on. Okay, and that's all you have to do if you're sewing. If you want to, if you don't want to sew, then what you're going to have to do is go around and on all of these edges, see this edge is kind of coming up here. you have to kind of give a little bit of glue on all of these edges. If you have one of these narrow nozzles, it's pretty easy to just, you know, kind of sneak in there. But I like the looks of the glue, of the stitching. So I'm just gonna go stitch this one and this one, and then I'll show you what they look like. All right, so I just stitched my 2 pockets and inked around the edges after they were finished, and now I have 2 finished pockets. So this one, see, I always get confused, which I think is fun in this sense. I don't always like being confused. Here is the one with the pockets that go all the way down to the bottom with the ripped pockets. And then here are it has 2 sideways pockets, and then 2 pockets going this way and this way. So you've got 4 pockets on there. So I have now 2 pockets for my journal, my Rhapsody journal, and 2 pockets for my Poppy journal. Actually 3 for each journal. So I wanted to just give you a quick little run through again. If you're making a journal for the Exploring Joy challenge, we have 23 verses, 23 days of Bible study. So what I have done in my journal is I have made 23 double page spreads, and I've got varying size pages. So, you know, here's for day 1. I'm going to do mine in order in this one. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and so on, all the way through the journal. And then there's a couple of extra pages at the back. Plus I have to glue that back on. Plus I have a big pocket here, a big pocket here, a big pocket here, and I have a flip and a flap and stuff there as well for extra space. And then on the other journal, I actually made a few extra pages. I have 15, enough room for maybe like 30 verses, but I'm going to put a few extra things in here, like, you know, maybe the lyrics for hymns or different things like that. And then I've got some little fun extras in between here that I made with different ledger paper and music paper and vellum and all kinds of stuff. So you can check that out if you're interested. But my point was, since we have this Bible study, and I hope if you're following along with this challenge that you are able to pick up this package. It's $6 only until the end of June, and it's got the entire Bible study, plus like a summary at the beginning, and it also has 20 pages of neutral ephemera. So there's all of these tags are in there, this tag is in there, all of these actually I think are in there. All the neutral colors, there's lots of words and labels and all of that kind of stuff also included in here. So that's going to be really fun and easy to use to decorate all of our pockets and things. So, but getting back to the Bible study again. So for day 1, for instance, it's the verse is Romans 15:13. So for each day we have the passage, then we have 3 questions, and kind of questions about, you know, the text and understanding the text. Then we have an application question, and then we have a piece of commentary and a quote. So if you have one of these kind of pockets for each day, then you can, you know, you can even cut it right out of here, or you can rewrite the questions, or you can just abbreviate what you have. But say I wanted to put the questions onto a card like this. So I put my questions here, I put my answers here or on the back, and then I have this that I can tuck in here, and that's for day 1. Then I also have my application questions, so maybe I use this little piece right on the back of there, and then that's my application question, and I'm going to add that to my pocket. Then maybe, you know, and maybe I want to take this question and I want to put it just glue it right onto the pocket so that I have it. You can shrink these down. I did have it on here. Yeah, I printed 2 to a page here and 4 to a page here. So those are options too if you want to, especially if you want some of the, you know, like just the application or something question. If you want a little smaller so it fits on your pockets, you can do that. And then there's commentary and quotes, and I always love to keep those with my studies. So I will probably cut these out. I probably won't rewrite all of them. Let's say I have, you know, I have this banner here, and I might cut out, I might print it 2 to a page. I think for me, I like 2 to a page. 4 to a page is just a little small for my eyes. You can read it. Some of the things are good. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but say if I wanted to do 2 to a page, I'd print all of them 2 to a page, and then I could print, see how I could cut out the commentary and the quote. I could put that on the back of my banner, and then I could tuck my banner into here. Okay, so now I have my questions on one sheet, I have my application on another, I have my quote and my commentary on another. I probably have some more thoughts that I want to put on here. Maybe I want to journal a prayer about this particular verse, so I have another tag, and I'll just stick that tag in there as well. Maybe I want to, maybe something that when I was watching the video from the guest creator on that day, maybe she said something that I really wanted to remember, so I'll write that on another little tag and I'll stick that in there. So then I have all of this stuff together, and it's all, you know, I have one little flat pocket, and I can do this for each day. You know, it doesn't have to be the same pocket. You can do this kind of pocket some days. You can do this kind of pocket some days. There's tons of different kinds of pockets, and I'll show you a few more in the days to come. I'm not sure if Diane's doing more pockets. She probably will. And I'm sure the creators are going to show us lots of inspiration here too. So if you have these ready, then when you're, you know, you're doing, say this is your day you're working on. Let me find a purple one here. I've got this already on here. Well, let's just pretend this hymn's not here. So I can put my pocket here, and then I can, you know, write all my information. See, I'm getting confused again. So I can write all my information on all of these tags and put the other tags here. And then I've got all of my information that I want in here from the study. On this particular one, there's an extra little thing here. Maybe I found lyrics to a hymn that I want to write out there, or something extra that I found about joy. Once you start studying joy, you're going to find little bits and pieces everywhere you go about joy. So you're going to want to keep those. And then I have like a 2-page spread. So on the other side, I thought I'm just going to leave that blank, so that when I get inspiration from the creator on that day, I may be inspired to do a new piece of ephemera. So then I'm just going to leave, you know, the second page kind of open for that. So this pretty much takes care of, you know, my whole entire study. And then I've got, you know, I can do, we've got all kinds of Wordfetti and stuff like that. We can just do that on this page, or we can do another pocket, we can do another little flip, or whatever we're inspired to do. So that's what I'm going to do on mine. So I hope that makes sense. On this particular journal, if you're following along with this journal, these ones are a little bit narrower, so I could put, that would actually fit really nice on that page. Some of these bigger ones, see, this is going to hang over, which is okay. I could make it hang over, and then on the other side I could just put a piece of a little strip of patterned paper, or even a piece of washi tape to hide that white edge. Or I could save some of these wider ones for my wider pages. See, that looks fabulous there. And then, you know, here's the other one. You know, maybe I could stick that one right here. So then each day, probably, I'm going to have some sort of a large pocket that I can use to stuff with all of my notes, and then I'll still have another entire page for extra things as, you know, as that day comes up, and as the creator for that day, our guest creator for that day gives us some inspiration, I may want to add something else. So I'll put that on the other page. So that's my plan. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be back in a day or two to give you some more inspiration. If you haven't started your journal yet, you might want to think about how you're going to do that. And if you haven't picked up your Bible study and ephemera kit, I would urge you to do that, because that's going to be really helpful to follow along for the month. So blessings, and we'll see you soon.